Jay-Z built an empire, billion-dollar brand, untouchable reputation. But somehow, no matter what, Diddy's scandals keep dragging him back into the storm. From a lawsuit claiming unspeakable crimes to a Star Island freak-off party too wild to believe, Jay-Z's name just won't stay out of it. And the reason his lawyers had to remind everyone he wasn't even there? Yeah, you'll want to hear this. Here's the thing. Jay-Z isn't charged with anything. He's not on trial. He's not sitting in a courtroom. But when Diddy's legal disasters blow up, somehow Hova's name keeps getting pulled in. That's the fallout effect. And whether it's a 20-year-old lawsuit suddenly revived or a Star Island party gone off the rails, Jay-Z keeps having to fight ghosts from scandals that aren't even his. So let's break down why his name's back, what's fact, what's speculation, and why the fallout from Diddy won't let Jay-Z walk away clean. Let's rewind to the year 2000, back when Jay-Z was already a rising mogul and Diddy was hip-hop royalty. After a glitzy MTV VMA after-party, a civil lawsuit was filed alleging that both Jay-Z and Diddy raped a 13-year-old girl. Heavy, ugly, disturbing allegations. Fact check. This lawsuit existed. It haunted both men's reputations in the background for years. And in late 2024, it resurfaced. Jay-Z and his lawyers fought back immediately, calling it blackmail, extortion, and flat-out false. His team said the case was strategically filed to maximize publicity, dropping right before major business deals and a family event. And here's the legal update. The court dismissed it with prejudice in February 2025. That means it cannot be refiled. End of story legally. Jay-Z didn't just celebrate the win, he went on offense. He filed counterclaims, saying he lost $20 million in business opportunities, faced death threats, and suffered severe reputational damage because of those accusations. Now, let's be clear, the case is closed. Jay-Z is not guilty of those charges. But here's where the fallout part kicks in. Even after dismissal, headlines keep repeating, Jay-Z accused, Jay-Z linked, Jay-Z lawsuit. Once your name's in that context, you don't get it back clean. Was the timing deliberate? Some say yes. Lawsuits like this sometimes surface during high-profile moments to grab maximum attention. If true, that's less about justice and more about spectacle. And spectacle is where fallout begins. That lawsuit was dismissed, but it still splashed his name across headlines. And just when Jay-Z thought that ghost was buried, another one popped up. In Miami, at one of Diddy's wildest parties. Fast forward to 2015. Miami. Diddy throws one of his infamous Star Island parties. These events are legendary in hip-hop circles. Money, excess, and rumors that make euphoria look tame. Enter Joseph Manzaro, who filed a lawsuit in 2025, claiming he was drugged and forced into what he called a freak-off. According to him, Diddy paraded him around in a penis mask for guests' amusement. And in the lawsuit, he named the guests watching. Among them, Jay-Z and Beyoncé. That allegation made headlines faster than a Beyonce surprise album, but here's the fact. Jay-Z and Beyoncé were later dropped from the lawsuit. Lawyers confirmed they weren't at the party. Their names should never have been included. So why were they mentioned at all? One theory is that name-dropping mega celebrities adds shock value, ensuring the case makes headlines. Even if you later retract it, the buzz is already out there. In other words, collateral damage. And that's the fallout effect again. Jay-Z and Beyoncé weren't even in the room. But once the lawsuit filed their names, the internet branded them Star Island witnesses. Now, Jay-Z wasn't even at that freak-off. Lawyers proved it. But here's the problem. Once your name gets tied to Diddy's parties, the damage is done. And the cultural fallout? That's a whole other mess. Let's talk about the circus. Diddy's parties have always been shrouded in whispers. Wild behavior, celebrity guests, and stories that toe the line between myth and nightmare. When lawsuits drag those whispers into court, the whole spectacle becomes part of the record. And here's what makes it messy. Once your name is written in a filing, it doesn't matter if you're dropped later. Headlines don't disappear, screenshots don't vanish. Think about it. Jurors in future Diddy trials might not even hear Jay-Z's name in evidence, but the public already has. And public opinion is often harsher than any judge. What if footage exists? These parties were notorious for phones, cameras, NDAs, and rumors. If one clip ever leaks, it could reignite the whole scandal overnight, regardless of who was really there. And culturally, the freak-off allegations turned into memes. Social media exploded with parody hashtags, edits, and Cardi B-style commentary. That kind of viral ridicule doesn't just vanish, it lingers like glitter after New Year's. For Jay-Z, even though lawyers cleared him, the mere suggestion ties his brand to Diddy's chaos. And that's fallout money can't fully erase. So between a lawsuit from the past and a freak show from the present, Jay-Z's name keeps surfacing, not because of what he did, but because of what Diddy's accused of. And that kind of fallout is harder to beat than any lawsuit. Let's zoom out. For Diddy, every new lawsuit piles onto a crumbling empire. Civil cases, federal investigations, criminal charges. His brand is in freefall. But for Jay-Z, the danger is different. It's not about indictments, it's about association fallout. He's not guilty, but his proximity to Diddy keeps pulling his name into the storm. And this is where things get messy, because history shows us how brutal the fallout can be. Look at R. Kelly. Long before his conviction, artists who worked with him, from Chance the Rapper to Lady Gaga, faced backlash just for collaborations. Some had to issue apologies, yank songs, or explain why they didn't see the signs. Or Kanye West. The moment his controversies exploded, brands like Adidas and Balenciaga ran for the hills. Didn't matter if partners agreed with him or not, association alone was poison. Even Irv Gotti back in the Murder Inc. days. Once the feds slapped RICO charges on him, half the industry backed away. And Irv actually beat the case. But the damage? Already done. That's the pattern. When someone at the center of an empire collapses, the fallout scorches everyone in the orbit. Now apply that lens to Jay-Z. He's not only hip-hop's billionaire mogul, he's also tied to Diddy through decades of music, parties, and mutual deals. Every headline about Diddy risks splashing onto Jay-Z's brand. Roc Nation, Tidal, Armand de Brignac Champagne, his NFL partnerships. How long before sponsors, partners, or investors quietly ask, wait, wasn't Jay-Z's name in one of those lawsuits too? They may know the legal truth, but in business perception often matters more than reality. And then there's Beyonce. The Carters are the ultimate power couple, flawless image, carefully curated. If Jay-Z's name keeps popping up in Diddy's chaos, that risks bleeding into her brand too. And let's be honest, Beyonce's fanbase, the Bayhive, does not tolerate reputational threats lightly. So while Jay-Z fights to clear his name every time, the question becomes, how much energy does he spend cleaning up a mess that isn't his? And how many times before brands or fans start to hesitate? And here's the scariest what if. Imagine if courts keep allowing celebrity name drops in these lawsuits, even if they're later withdrawn. Suddenly, the biggest stars in the world become characters in each other's trials. Drake lyrics used as evidence. Kardashians subpoenaed as witnesses. Beyonce dragged into depositions. The legal system and pop culture aren't just colliding anymore. They're practically collabing, and the remix is pure chaos. So where does this leave Jay-Z? Legally, he's fine. The 2000 lawsuit was dismissed with prejudice. The Star Island freak-off claims dropped his name. He's not a defendant anywhere. But reputationally? Different story. Because every time Diddy collapses, Jay-Z gets splashed by the debris. For now, expect Jay-Z's lawyers to stay aggressive. Expect more pushback if his name appears in future filings. And maybe, just maybe, expect him and Beyonce to go louder about distancing themselves from Diddy. But the real question is, how much damage is already done? Can you really escape fallout when it's tied to a scandal this big? So, here's the takeaway. Jay-Z's not guilty, not charged, and not even in the room half the time. But when you're orbiting a scandal this radioactive, you don't have to be guilty to get burned. The lawsuits got dismissed, the party claims dropped his name. But the fallout? That sticks. So what do you think? Can Jay-Z ever fully escape the shadow of Diddy's chaos? Or will his name always resurface whenever Diddy implodes? Drop your thoughts below and hit subscribe, because this legal soap opera, we're only on episode 1.